Hello everyone, and thanks for coming back to the channel. This is the Attack66 by TransTec. We're jumping right into flight footage today because I think this is one that you should avoid. We have some noise on screen through the VTX, possibly coming through the flight controller ESCs. But I want you to pay special attention, and you may have to go back because we've already missed it, is the voltage sag. We're running 0802 22,000 kV motors on a 31mm quad blade prop. And I just think this is a bad combination. You know, it doesn't weigh especially a lot or anything of that that's causing this. I think it's purely based upon the motors. They're too high kV, they're too larger motors on too small a prop. You can see we're 20 seconds in. Our voltage is kind of stabilized at 3.2 volt. This is a 1S battery that we're flying it on, and it requires a 1S battery. But you'll notice that as I get into the closer to the minute and over a minute, that my throttle position or throttle value that you see in the top left continues to rise higher. Now that alone is not something that's unusual. But what is unusual is the extraordinary short flight time. I'm flying pretty modestly. Those of you who've been around the channel know I tend to fly quite a bit faster than this. You can also tell that I have troubles gaining altitude. So we've got the annoying low battery on screen. And I did lower the minimum voltage on this to kind of get more flight time. Just being a minute and a half is about all we're going to get. If you're someone who's cautious with your batteries, you especially don't want to fly this. And if you're someone who, just wants to fly 1S batteries till they can't take off anymore, we're going to do this in the video, and it's not going to take much more longer before you see that I'll be at 100% throttle value and I can't get off the ground. So that combination alone of really short flight times and really the performance that I'm showing you is very, very modest. I think the fun that you can have with this is very, very limited. Now that alone isn't all that I have to say about this. I'll try to keep this short as to save you time. I was flying on the RDQ 300, and you do need a battery with a short little lead because the lead that they put on, at least mine, is so short. If you try to fly longer stick batteries, you can't center the battery on here and be able to plug them in. You've got to move your battery way forward, and you can sometimes even get that battery into your FPV shot with it being clear out here on front. You get a little bit of that. Also, the camera, while it's nice that they used a little bit of a higher quality Caddx Firefly camera, the canopy is cut for a particular camera angle, and this is the maximum I can get. You probably won't be able to see it, but down between the connector for the ESC and the camera's power leads, the black and red wires, come down below, so you can't really tilt this up too much before you start to hit that connector. So it seems as though the canopy has been misdesigned to increase the camera angle much more than I already have it, which is not very much at all. I actually took the whole canopy apart, tried to manipulate things a little bit to get more camera angle. The VTX is separate. It does have smart audio, however you feel about that. I put my receiver right here. This still gave me USB access, and you can see we have the connector right up through there through the canopy where our receiver goes. There are two jumper pads on the board in front of the connector for 5 volt or 3.3 volt, depending upon whether you're running a 5 volt receiver, or typically a Spectrum receivers will run 3.3 volts. I am a little bit annoyed with the rubber band as well. For me, I found it very difficult to get my fingernails underneath here and to be able to pick those up, especially when the rubber bands were new. You get various extras in there, but at this point I really don't care about the extras because I think you should avoid this. It's overmotored, it's underpropped. The amount of fun that you can have with it is very limited, and the level of fun that you can have with it is very limited as well. You do have a little bit of extra motor wire here, so if you wanted to run a 40mm prop, you wanted to transfer this stuff into some other frame, I think that would be much more viable to put a 40mm prop on this to be able to fly it. Those, as I said, it's overmotored, it's underpropped. You want to keep these things kind of in balance. 22,000 kV is fine if the motor is very efficient. I don't see that this one is. If you're looking at this and thinking, well, I just transfer it to a different frame, I'll put a link down in the video description to it, but it's running about $100 right now. So I don't even see it as a value in that regards. I think you can buy a lot of other machines like this that will come in well under the $100 and actually fly stock pretty well. And these prop guards really don't help you. I flew one particular time and I just bumped into one of the chairs and it stops the prop and you fall in the air. And the firmware that comes stock on this is missing a flip over after crash. So you can't turtle mode this thing stock. You're going to have to go through and reflash, find the target that you need to be able to reflash so that you can use turtle mode or flip over after crash. I think that's another deficiency. I don't know why all these things are missed other than they just didn't test it very much. If you like this form factor, I can highly recommend the UR65 they have here. The prop guards work much better. It's a much more efficient setup, much more fun to fly. You can get much more camera angle, and there's no noise on the FPV. So I can't find any reason to buy this. So if you're looking at this, please buy this instead. If you want to fly outside, I would recommend something without prop guards. But of course, if you're mainly flying inside and maybe just dabble outside, this will fly outside in the calmest of days. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in the section down below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.